Okay, I'm going to help you with some of these problems here. So let's get started. It says, Shane's rare book collection contains 40 books. He donates 15% of his books to the National Library, sells 1/4 of his books to a rare book dealer, and sells 4 books on eBay. How many books remain in Shane's book collection? A says 31 books, B says 24 books, C says 33 books, and D says 20 books. The question is, how many books remain? Remains, you should know, is an operation. That means subtract. So that means a subtraction. So we have a subtraction issue there. Okay. And then it says, also, he donates 15% of. Okay, in math we know the word of also means an operation, and of actually means multiply. Okay, so that means multiply. And so of course that of the books, so 15% times the books. Well, how many books are in this collection? It's telling you there that there's actually 40 books. It's right here, 40 books. So we're going to multiply 15% times 40, but you must convert the 15% to a decimal, and you do that by moving the decimal 2 times to the left. 1, 2. So you get 40 times 0.15, and that'll give you how many books he donated to the National Library. Okay, so that's what he donated to National Library. They also want you to find how many books did he give, did he sell to a rare book dealer. So it says sells to a rare book dealer. And of course, it says again, 1/4 of means multiply. And so this word means multiply, so then we're going to put 1/4. Let's convert that to a decimal. We should all know that 1/4 equals, I'll put it here on the side, 1/4 equals 0.25. And so we're going to put there 1/4 equals 0.25, so that means that 0.25 times, well, times what? Well, times the books. Again, how many books does he have? It's telling you right there, he has 40 books. So times 40. Okay? And once you find those two answers, you'll know how many books went to the National Library and how many books went to the book dealer. Apart from that, he also sold 4 books on eBay. And so the question is, how many books remain? Well, you have to subtract to find that out. But first, you got to find out, okay, how many books went to the National Library, how many books went to the book dealer, and then add the 4 books he sold on eBay, and then you can find out how many books remain. In other words, how many are left. All right, so let's go to the next question there. It says there number 2. Yeah. Okay, number 2. At 1 a.m., the temperature in Garden City was -8 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. At 1 a.m., the temperature in Garden City was -8 degrees Fahrenheit. By noon, the temperature was 25 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the change in temperature in degrees Fahrenheit from 1 a.m. to noon? Okay, so there's a key word here that means the operation I'm going to use. And the word that means an operation is this word, change. Okay, what was the change? Okay, and so we got to find out, okay, what was the change? Well, it went from -8 to a positive 25. So obviously it changed. Well, how much did it change? Well, the word change means subtract. So that means I'm going to subtract 25 minus because the subtraction, and that's a -8. So I'm going to put in parentheses -8. All you gotta do is solve this and you get your answer. Don't forget, use KCC, keep, change, and you'll get your answer. Number 3 gives you one question, one sentence question, but the problem is very long. It says, which of the following expressions have equivalent solutions? So equivalent means the same. This word there, okay? So this word means the same. Oh, there it goes. This word equivalent means the same. So if I see the word equivalent, I think of, okay, the same, the word the same. Okay, so we got to figure out which of these solutions are the same. So we have 3, Roman number 1, Roman number 2, Roman number 3. We got to solve each one individually, and I'm going to do this on this paper because it's a little easier. And so I'm going to do the first one there. It says negative 7.56 divided by 2.4. Well, I can write this as negative 7.56 divided by 2.4. Okay, it's the same thing. And if I use my Dorito Man rules, negative divided by a positive is going to give me a negative answer. I just got to figure out, okay, what is that answer? So we'll use the T-boot, top in, bottom out, and we'll put 7.56 divided by 2.4. Well, first, obviously, you got to move the decimal. You cannot have decimals in your divisor, so you move it to the front. You moved it once, so you move this guy once, and you put a decimal there. And so you got to figure, okay, how many 24s in 56? Well, you can just try, okay, 24 times 2, that gives me 48. 24 times 3, it's 12. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 72, that's pretty close, so I'm going to use 3. Okay, and it's 72. 75 minus 72 is 3. You bring down the 6. 24 and 36, obviously that's going to be 1. It gives me 24. We subtract. That gives me 16. We add a 0, so we bring that down. And now how many 24s in 160? Well, 24 times 3 is 72. So let me try 24 times 6. Let me double that. And I'll get 20. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 144. Well, let's add another 24. And let's see what I get. And I get 24 times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 plus 2 is 168. I'm going to go over, so I'm going to go with the 6. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I made a mistake right here. Oops. Real quick, let me correct this issue here. 24 times 1 is 24, but 36 minus 24 is not 16. It's actually 6 minus 4 is 2. Okay, so this is 2 right here. Okay, my fault. So this is 2. Now it's 120 now. So how many times 24 going to 120? Well, it's 24 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So it's actually 5 times here. So it is 3.15. Oh, I was getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry about that. Okay. And so it is 3.15. So I'm going to put 3.15 is my answer here. So this is negative 3.15. Okay. And now the next thing I'm going to do is, it says there minus 0.65. So I'll put here minus 0.65. And from here, I'll use my strategy of KCC, okay, keep, change. And so this would be negative 3.15, change to plus, change that to a negative. And so that means that same sign add, different sign subtract. So the same sign, we add them together. So we get 3.15 plus 0.65. I get 3.8, same sign, keep the sign of the both numbers. And so the first one is negative 3.8, okay? So let's put here, this one is negative 3.8. Okay, let's look at the next one there. Okay. See what that one gives us. Okay, we'll try this one here. Okay, so 5 1/8 minus 3/4 divided by negative 1 3/4. Okay. And so let's look at this one here. First of all, I'm going to do around the world here to get this into fraction form. So I got 8 times 5 is 40 plus 1, 41 over 8 minus 31 over 4. Okay. And from there, I'm going to use my butterfly strategy. And so I'm going to multiply these two here, and then multiply these two, and then multiply these two. And so I get 41 times 4, which is 164. So 164. 8 times 3 is 24. And 8 times 4 is 32. And so I get 164 minus 24 over 32. And so then I subtract that, and I'll get 164 minus 24. That's 0, that's 4, 140. And so now I have 140 over 32. All I did was subtract these two right here, and I got 140 over 32. Okay. I still need to divide by this, divided by negative 1 3/4. So I'll put this over here, divided by negative 1 3/4. Let me make this smaller, since I can, so I can simplify this guy by 2. Okay, so I'm going to simplify. I'm going to cut this in half. Half of 140 is 70. So I'm going to put there, okay, this is 70. Half of 32 is 16. Okay. And at the same time I do this, I'm going to do around the word over here. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 7 over 4. Okay. I can still make this guy smaller over here. So I'm going to simplify by 2 again. Cut it in half. And I get half of 70 is 35. Half of 16 is 8. And now I'm going to change this. I'm going to use KCF, keep, change, flip. So I'm going to change division to multiplication. Flip the second fraction. Okay. And now I'm going to look diagonally. Okay. Can I simplify 35 and 7? And I can. 7 into 7 goes once. 35 into 7 divided by 7 is 5. Okay. And so now I have, in fact, I can even simplify the other one, 2 numbers too, because 4 goes into 4 once and 4 goes into 8 twice. And so what I have left is 5 times 1 and 2 times 1, which is equal to 5 over 2, which is equal to 2.5, or 2.5. Okay. So now we know the second part, the second number is 2.5, and let's not forget that this was actually a negative here. I forgot to carry from here. And so that means that a positive divided by a negative is actually negative. So this is negative 2.5 or negative 2.5. And so we're going to put here negative 2.5. Okay. And so now we find the third one. And the third one, I think I have enough space to do it here. And so let's see here. First of all, we do parentheses. So we have negative 5/8. We have 8/3. And we're going to do around the world here. So 3 times 1 plus 1, 4/3. So we have negative 5/8 in parentheses. They're the same denominator, so we just add the numerators. 8 plus 4 is 12. And so we got negative 5/8. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. And so we have negative 5/8 times 4, or 4 over 1. And we get negative 20 over 8, which is negative divided by a positive is negative, and 8 goes into 20 twice, 8 left over, I'm sorry, 8 is your denominator, 8 times 2 is 16, which means there's 4 left over. But I can simplify this 4 and 8 by 4, which gives me negative 2.5 or negative 2.5, which is the same as this one here. Okay, so now you know what your answer is. Tells you right there. Let's look at the next one there. Number 4, the altitude of Death Valley, California is 282 feet below sea level. A hot air balloon is launched from the bottom of Death Valley and rises at the rate of 10 feet per second. After 12 seconds, the balloon captain lowers the balloon 15 feet. What is the altitude of the hot air balloon after being lowered? So he's below sea level. Oh, the answers are F is 177 feet below sea level. G is 105 feet above sea level. H is 162 feet below sea level. And J is 387 feet above sea level. And so we think there, if it's below sea level, so this is negative 282, and then the hot air balloon is launched from the bottom of Death Valley, in other words, from here, and it rises, and if you're going up, that's a positive number. It's rising 10 feet per second after 12 seconds, well, 12 times 10, so it went up 120 feet. This is where it was at, this is how much it went up. After 12 seconds, the balloon captain lowers the balloon 15 feet. So he made it go down again, negative 15 feet. What is the altitude of the hot air balloon after being lowered? So now you have these 3 numbers, okay? Obviously you have 2 negatives. So what you could do is combine your negatives. Combine your negatives, so you have 282, negative 282 plus negative 15. That gives me a negative 297. And this is a positive number, and that's a negative. So you're going to have negative 297 plus 120. Okay? Remember, same sign add, different sign subtract. And always remember, is your answer going to be positive or negative? Because below means negative, above means positive. Below negative, above means positive. So do that and you get your answer. Okay, the next one there. The table shows the distance that students on a track team walk during after school practice. What is the total distance in miles the students walk during after school practice? A, 10 and 7/8 miles, B, 11 and 3/20 miles, C, 11.5 miles, or it's not there. Okay, those are the choices. What is the total distance? So total, in math, we know that that means add. So all you do is add. Add, what is the total distance? So add them up. And you have your decimals, fractions, mixed numbers. Well, let's make them all decimals. So this is 2.75. 2 1/5, I've told you to remember 1 over 5. That's 2.2. This is 1.4. We'll put a 0 there. And this is 3.5. And you should know 3 over 10, you should know. That's 1.30. Okay, all you're going to do is add them up. And you get your answer. You just got to remember how to convert. Don't forget the 7/8, 3/8. Remember, 1/8 equals 0.125. Okay, hopefully this has helped you. Good luck. Adios.